Welcome to Motivational Humanity. You are not alone.
When was the last time you made a decision? A real decision? Just for yourself. Not for your kids. Not to keep the peace. Not to avoid the guilt that would follow you around for days like a shadow you can't shake. When was the last time you chose you? If you had to think about that for more than 3 seconds, this video is for you. Because somewhere along the way, something happened. You gave and gave and gave. Your time, your energy, your sleep, your dreams. And the giving never really stopped. Even now, with your children grown and living their own lives, you still feel responsible for their happiness. You still carry it. Like it's your job. Like it has always been your job. And today, I want to gently, lovingly, firmly tell you it is not. I want to talk to you like a friend would. Someone sitting across from you at the kitchen table with a warm cup of tea. You are not a young mother anymore. You have lived through decades of things that would have broken other people. You have held families together during crises. You have shown up when no one else did. You have loved people through their worst moments, sometimes at the cost of your own peace. You have earned wisdom, real wisdom, the kind that doesn't come from a book, it comes from living. And yet here you are. Maybe your adult son calls only when something is wrong, and when you can't fix it, he goes cold and quiet, and that silence sits inside your chest for days. Maybe your daughter makes a choice, a life partner, a career, a way of raising your grandchildren that worries you deeply, and when you express concern, you're told you're being controlling or judgmental, or that you just don't understand. Maybe you canceled your trip. Maybe you didn't buy the thing you saved for. Maybe you said yes when you wanted to say no again, because you couldn't bear the idea of your child being upset with you. And maybe, just maybe, you've started to wonder, Ray, is this just what love looks like at this age? Is this just motherhood? No, it isn't. What you are feeling right now has a name. Psychologists call it emotional enmeshment. When the boundaries between your emotional life and your child's emotional life have dissolved so completely that you don't know where they end and you begin. And it didn't happen because you did something wrong. It happened because you loved with everything you had. But today, we're going to talk about why that love, as beautiful as it is, does not require your happiness as its price. Think about how a house is built. When a child is small, they live entirely inside you, figuratively and literally. You are their whole world, their warmth, their safety, their source of everything. That is how it's supposed to be. But as they grow, the house is meant to expand. They're meant to build walls of their own, find their own foundations, their own rooms, their own windows, their own light. A grown child who still needs you to be their entire emotional home, who needs you to be available at all hours, to manage their stress, to fix their sadness, to celebrate every win and absorb every disappointment, is living in a house that was built for a 6-year-old. And you, dear friend, are still trying to fit inside it. Here's what psychology tells us about this. When parents, especially mothers, do not allow their children to develop what researchers call distress tolerance, those children never fully learn to self-regulate. They grow into adults who struggle to sit with discomfort, who reach outward, often to you, every time something feels hard. This is not a moral failing. It's a developmental gap. But here is the truth that might be hard to hear. Continuing to be their emotional home doesn't help them. It actually keeps them from building their own. Loving them well now might mean stepping back, even when every instinct in you says step forward. There's a woman I want you to imagine. Her name is Margaret. Not a real person, but someone you might recognize. Margaret spent 30 years raising her children largely on her own. She worked 2 jobs. She missed some school plays. She wasn't always emotionally available because she was exhausted. She did her imperfect best. Now her children are in their 40s. And whenever one of them is struggling, they remind her, sometimes in words, Sometimes just in the heaviness of the conversation, of the ways she fell short. And Margaret carries that. She carries it everywhere. She says yes to babysitting when her back is hurting. She loans money she can't afford to loan. She stays quiet about her own needs because she is trying, still, to make up for something that happened 20 years ago. Margaret is confusing guilt with responsibility. Guilt says, I feel bad, therefore I owe you something. A responsibility says, this is mine to carry. Here is the psychological reality: guilt, especially the chronic, low-grade guilt that many mothers carry, is not a reliable moral compass. It's often a trauma response. It's your nervous system, trained over decades to anticipate disapproval, trying to protect you from conflict. Your guilt is not evidence that you did something wrong. And it is certainly not a reason to trade away your peace. You can love your children and still say, this is not mine to carry. This one might be the hardest. Because if you're honest, there's probably a version of this fear living somewhere inside you. What if they pull away? What if they love me less? What if I say no and they stop calling? That fear is real. And it makes sense. Attachment, the deep human need to stay connected to the people we love, is wired into us. Losing the approval of our children can feel, on a neurological level, like a life threat, like falling. But here's what I want you to consider. When you make yourself small, when you swallow your needs, hide your feelings, and mold yourself into whatever shape keeps the peace, you are not building a real relationship with your child. You are building a performance, and performances are exhausting. And they're lonely, because the person your child is close to isn't really you. It's a version of you that you constructed to avoid their disappointment. Real closeness, the kind that actually nourishes you both, requires you to be real. That means sometimes they will be disappointed in you. And that disappointment is not an emergency. It is, in fact, a normal and healthy part of two adults navigating a relationship. You are allowed to disappoint them sometimes. You are allowed to be a full, complicated, needs-having human being, not just a mother. There's an image I keep coming back to. Imagine a river. For decades, that river has been feeding fields, filling wells, nourishing everything downstream. It gives without being asked. It just flows. But what happens when it never gets replenished? When no rain falls, when no underground springs feed it? It dries up. And a dry river doesn't help anyone. You have been flowing outward for a very long time. And somewhere along the way, you stopped asking, what feeds me? Not what feeds your family. Not what keeps things running. Not what makes everyone comfortable. What feeds you? Psychologists who study what's called, say, midlife identity, the process of rediscovering who you are beyond your roles, consistently find that women in your age group who invest in their own interests, friendships, rest, and purpose are not only happier, but are also better, more present grandmothers, mothers, and partners. You being happy is not selfish. It is, in fact, one of the most generous things you can do for the people you love. Because a woman who is full, genuinely full, gives from abundance. A woman who is empty just gives from pain. And your children deserve a mother who gives from abundance. So do you. I want to be very careful here, because I don't want you to hear something I'm not saying. I am not telling you to cut your children off. I am not telling you that love requires distance. I am not telling you to stop caring about them, or to become cold, or to suddenly become a different person. What I am telling you is this: love and self-abandonment are not the same thing. In fact, here is a radical idea, one that took me a long time to truly believe. The most loving thing you can do for your adult children is to model what a full life looks like. When they watch you take care of yourself, when they see you say no gracefully, protect your time, pursue your own joy, speak your truth even when it's uncomfortable, you are giving them a gift they didn't know they needed. You are showing them that it's possible. You are showing them that your worth was never tied to your usefulness. And quietly, without a single lecture, you are giving them permission to build the same kind of life for themselves. That is a legacy worth leaving. You have been here before, at a turning point. Life has given you many of them by now, and you have moved through every single one. You know what loss feels like. You know what resilience feels like. You know what it means to start over, to rebuild, to find beauty in unexpected places. This is another turning point. Not a crisis, not a failure, not proof that something went wrong. Just a moment where you get to ask yourself, who am I now that I have permission to ask? You are not just someone's mother. You are not a support system. You are not a problem solver. You are not a guilt carrier, or a peacekeeper, or a person whose value lies entirely in what she provides. You are a woman, with a history and a heartbeat and desires and opinions, and a future that still has so much in it, if you choose to show up for it. The happiness you've been giving away, it belongs to you. Not because you've earned it, though you have 1,000 times over, but because happiness is not a reward for good behavior, it is your birthright. It is what you were supposed to have all along. Your children need you to be okay. But more than that, you need you to be okay. And the beautiful thing about this moment right now is that it's not too late. It is never too late to come home to yourself. If something in this video touched you today, if you felt even one moment of yes, that's me, I want you to do one small, powerful thing. In the comments below, type these 4 words: I am reclaiming my peace. That's it. Just those 4 words. Because sometimes the most important thing we can do is name it. Say it out loud, or type it, and let it become real. And if you know someone, a friend, a sister, someone who needs to hear this today, please share this video with her. You might be giving her something she didn't know she needed. If this kind of conversation speaks to you, subscribe and stay close, because we're just getting started. You deserve this conversation, and you deserve so much more. Take care of yourself. I mean that.